It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That is Kicks with Cold Blood. I love the music video for that, Chris. Did you ever see that?
I have, sure.
That little dark-haired girl, she's walking through that club kicking the balloons.
Girls are good.
Yeah, but she's just that type. She's my type.
Yeah.
And, of course, Kicks has a brand new CD out, which they haven't had one for years and years and years. And it's called what?
I don't remember. Kick your face off or something?
It's rock your face off.
Yeah.
Remember the whole Tesla thing? It's got to rock your face off or tear your face off or whatever. Right. Well, anyway, a guy who's very young and surprisingly a Kicks fan, only because Kicks hails from his neck of the woods, is our good friend CMS Mikey. Welcome back to the show, Mikey. Haven't talked to you in a while.
Yes, it is good to be back on the illustrious Classic Metal Show.
Right. Well, the thing is after a 20-year history with the Classic Metal Show, you're the luckiest kid in the world or young man now.
Yes, I am. I'm a very fortunate guy to have guys like you in my life. You're definitely a real positive influence on me.
Right. Well, Mikey, last time I saw you, Chris and I made the trip down to see you graduate with honors and all that good stuff. And then you had your hot teacher there. So are you still in contact with the hot teacher, or has that gone by the wayside since you've relocated now?
I am absolutely still in contact with her. She's one of my best friends pretty much in the world. Her and I get along on so many topics, which is funny because she is very liberal and I'm very conservative. But we go back and forth and we argue and stuff, and she's just a great lady. And I do miss her a lot because I don't get to see her anymore, being that I'm a few states away, shall we say.
Yeah, so does the topics ever include panties? No panties. Panties today? No panties. What do you think?
They've never included that because she just recently got married.
So what?
I tend to take a more tactful and respectful tone towards those who formerly instructed me. So.
Right. Do you think that'll last, Mikey? Do you think it'll last, or is this like a passing thing with her?
Oh, no. We're pretty good friends.
No. That's not what I'm talking about her being married. Do you think that'll last, or do you think that's sort of like or do you think she'll be on to the next stud?
Oh, no. She's really happy in her marriage and stuff. We talked about that some because she opened up to me a little more than some of the other kids with what she talked about after I left school. And she's like, I'm really happy and stuff, and he's the guy for me. So, hey, if she's happy, I'm happy. That's great.
When did she get married, Mikey?
She got married in 2013 because I was in my senior year.
I'd keep at least one shoulder in shape so that she's there, so it's there to cry on for her.
Oh, come on, man.
When that wedding falls out, you could be right there to kind of catch her and say, oh, it's okay. Let me give you a hug. Let me give you a breast massage and just go right from there.
Yep. And there's nothing like that milfy goodness.
Nothing at all.
Nothing like it.
Well, that's the whole thing. Mikey should just keep himself right in the mix. Keep yourself close. Be right there to give that comforting, warm, I hope everything's okay moment, which leads you into, a passionate fucking.
Nah. Again, she's a really good friend, and I really don't know if I'd want to go there with her.
Yeah, that's where it all starts, man. Better to be starting with a friend than an enemy.
She's just a really nice lady, and I really do miss her class because she really had a unique way of teaching math that I really do miss.
You're focusing in on all the wrong things, Mikey. She's a nice lady. She teaches a good class.
She leaned right over your desk with her shirt open and said, what is 1 + 1?
No, she made me work for all the stuff I got with all the grades and stuff. And I know, but phrasing, I know that.
Man, I can't divert your attention away from the academics.
So, but man, I'm in college. This is the new life, man. This is a new me.
I get it, but you can't lose your lust for life.
I'm not. I'm definitely not. I'm open to any and all considerations that pass me by, but I'm definitely not. I'm not swinging it just to swing,
Why not? You're in college.
I've got very little time to make the most impression that I can on the best law school that I can. We're talking Harvard, Yale, Princeton, William & Mary.
Okay, do you really believe that there's any lawyers in this country that were not banging out 10, 11 chicks in college?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm sure for any given school that that there's a lawyer that has done that, but that won't be me.
A lawyer, every lawyer.
But that won't be me because I have a future. I have a plan. I have a life, and I need to get out there and be the best me I can be, and that involves not falling prey to any of the feminine wiles that may distract me from my path.
Wow.
There's no negatives to pussy, Mike.
Oh, there isn't, and I'm not saying that there is, but I have to keep myself focused because I have to accomplish.
I have to keep myself pure and chaste.
No, I'm not saying that now. I'm just saying that I'm not gonna when the fastball's coming down the lane, I'm not swinging at them all.
Right.
I'm gonna wait. I'll find the one I want, and then I'll knock it out of the park.
Right.
The one you want is the one that's offering every time.
But see, I don't go for that, and I don't go for that purely because if you're leaning on me too much, it's almost like
It's college.
I don't know. It's too much of a statistical risk. I'm in statistics, so it's a little more of a statistical risk. Okay.
You and Neeley both. Let me guess. You won't bang a black chick either because you'll get AIDS, right?
Oh, I don't care.
Sis.
Hey, race, color, creed, don't matter shit to me. Oh, edit that out. But it doesn't matter anything to me. It don't matter nothing to me. But what matters to me is just not... It's almost like the more someone's pushing it out there, the more it's like a red flag of, she might be easy altogether, and if she's easy altogether, God knows what she has, you know?
Oh, stop. You guys have never lived. You and Neeley. You're both cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, and guess what? We're cut from the same pretty conservative cloth, I'd say. I'd say I come from decent stock.
Tell your dad I'm disappointed in him. Just tell him flat out, I'm disappointed in the way he raised you.
He's pretty happy so far.
Well, I'm gonna refer to you as Sir Galahad the Pure there, Mikey.
Oh, come on, man.
Sir Galahad.
Oh, come on, I ain't after the name, man.
It's the Sir Galahad Nun.
I'm just here to I'm just here to get ahead of my academics. I'll definitely date and I'll definitely have fun with girls, but that's kind of secondary to making sure the way is clear.
Sure. Well, Mikey, I want to get your thoughts on something here, being that you are a well-versed young man when it comes to social, political things. A hero of mine and Chris's passed away this past week. Jim Traficant, who used to be the sheriff in your locale.
Yes, sir.
And he was a former congressman who basically got kicked out of Congress back in 2002. A very outspoken guy. Even though he ran as a Democrat, he was, he called himself an independent, but he sided with the Republicans more often than not. And he, made a lot of enemies on Capitol Hill, which, in my belief, is the reason he got run off of Capitol Hill. I don't think because, of the charges he was brought up on, because I think probably all the politicians are crooks, and I don't think he's done anything worse than anybody else. I just think they needed to get this guy out of there. So what was your thoughts? Did you know about Jim Traficant, and what's your thoughts on, his passing away, and do you think it's a conspiracy or just an unfortunate accident?
Well, what I know about Jim Traficant is I remember several years ago you guys played the one of Jim Traficant and Ted Nugent.
Right.
And that was my first real foray into the world of what this guy's been through. And I knew he was sheriff out here at some point. And he was congressman and stuff. And his approach to things, at least the snippet I heard on the show here, was that he was a pretty common sense guy. He was pretty common sense government. It was pretty simple. I appreciated his take, especially in the IRS and the Federal Reserve, with saying that they're basically crooks, because that's how I view them. I see the Federal Reserve as weaning away power from Congress. That was a congressionally delegated authority under Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3 of the Constitution, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, look at lawyer Mikey go.
Jesus.
And I think that's right. And when he passed, unfortunately, I think he had a lot of work that he could still have done. He could definitely have done radio. The guy had an entertaining enough guest spot from the show you guys played.
He did radio in Youngstown. He was on WKBN.
Oh, yes, that is right. Yes, that is right. And I think he definitely could have done more with that. And it's definitely sad to see a guy that was a real kind of not a maybe champion of the people in a way, because he was really into the valley and trying to get jobs in industry back here. You know,
well, he was he
he
was very unorthodox in his approach on the congressional floor and his daily speeches that he made, and he didn't mince words, and he was kind of a renegade up there.
Yeah, and that's I think what we need more of in Congress is people that are just going to come out there and are, Joe from the steel mill or Mike from the auto assembly plant. We need guys that are just going to get out there and, make $60K a year and may not have a degree, but they actually work for a living.
Right.
I'd be good with Joe from the steel mill. Definitely not Mike from the auto assembly plant.
Hey, it's just a random name, random location. It has no bearing to my life at all.
Sure. Well, I'm going to play a little snippet, probably one of my favorite little clips of Jim Traficant on Capitol Hill when Congress was making their decision to throw him out of Congress for you, Mikey.
Cool.
I want you to disregard all of the opposing counsel has said. I think they're delusionary. I think they've had something funny for lunch in their meal. I think they should be handcuffed to a chain link fence, flogged, and all of their hearsay evidence should be thrown the hell out. And if they lie again, I'm going to go over and kick them in the crotch. Thank you very much.
Thoughts?
Very direct, very poignant. You cannot mistake what he's saying. You just can't. You can't take that out of context. You can't.
Well, the thing that got me, Mikey, is what can you respond to that?
There is none. Like, drops Mike on stage. There is no response to that, None at all.
Plus, we learned the word delusionary.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, that's not a word. He made that up, but it doesn't even matter.
It's good.
It doesn't even matter. Because it's, again, that's what I'm talking about. People on the Senate floor, if for God's sake you're chained to something, you have to watch C-SPAN. They talk and you don't even know what the hell they're saying. Yeah. Because they speak in such a way that's you need the Oxford English Dictionary to understand what they're saying. And we need guys like that that'll just make up a word. And so it's not real. But he's getting his point across, and we all know what he means. He means delusional. Right. But he didn't think about that word. Who cares? Get out there, speak your position, and then debate the matter.
Well,
was he killed by the man?
Well, there's not enough. It's almost like there is not enough evidence as of yet to say that. But I don't see why anybody would have it out for the guy. I mean, he wasn't. It wasn't like he was big time. Okay, it wasn't like he was senator or a majority leader or something. He didn't have any real quote power as of that point when he unfortunately died. So I think it was just an accident. Things happen, when you go looking for conspiracy and stuff, you tend to use what's called selection bias, where you're looking for the things that hook up exactly with what you believe, and you tend to forget the things that don't. And 99% of the things don't hook up with what you believe.
I'm thinking you're wrong. I'm thinking he's the Lee Bowers of our generation.
Really?
That's what I think.
Why?
Why? Because he was actually opening the door and pointing to evidence of corruption. He was banging the door down and saying, this is corrupt, this is corrupt, this is corrupt. And the Fed and the IRS, those are two of the big power players to have somebody that can get attention to be tearing them down.
That is true, but you got to think about it this way, it's not to say he's small potatoes, because he's not. But, wouldn't you think Ron Paul would have been went after for all the stuff he's done? Wouldn't you think
Who's to say he's not?
But I'm not saying that he isn't. But I'm simply saying that, so far nothing has come out about his life being in peril. So what makes you think they go after someone like a Jim Traficant?
Simple. Ron Paul is always in Washington. He stays at work. Jim Traficant was out cutting his grass or whatever the hell he was doing.
Maybe, but again, I go back to my earlier comment about selection bias. We're so keen to look for the bits that fit the mold we want them to fit, and we'll shoehorn them in if we have to make them fit.
Right.
Okay.
So is it or isn't it? I'm not willing to say because I don't know enough. But
sure.
my my intuition tells me that it's not.
Right.
In the history of mankind, name another tractor accident death.
Oh God! Without like going to Google or anything, I have no idea. I know it. Obviously, it's had to have happened.
Sure.
Of course, it's happened once in a while. It's never happened to a famous person in the history of the world.
I don't know. Yeah,
I do know it's never happened to anybody famous in the history of the world.
I'm assuming you Googled it.
No, I'm just running my mouth because I have a microphone. It makes me smart.
Well, Mikey,
The microphone makes you smart.
Well, Mikey, one of the biggest, hottest contested issues facing us here in the U.S. is illegal immigration or illegal aliens.
Yes.
I'm going to play a very short clip of what Mr. Traficant had to say about this over 14 years ago.
Cool.
And I have a lot of Hispanics mad at me. And I think Ms. Sanchez is a great member. But yes, I voted for Mr. Dornan because I thought we set up an illegal precedent by allowing possible illegal immigrants to vote in the federal election, and I voted with Mr. Dornan. And I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. Now, since then, I think you have been an excellent member. If you've been offended by that, I'm sorry. And I also want to say this. I urge you to put our troops on our border. And I think anybody who jumps the fence shouldn't be made a citizen. They should be thrown out. And you're going to be dealing with Homeland Security. And I'm saddened to my heart. I can't vote on it.
With that.
How about that?
So yeah, that's quite a powerful statement that he made there about illegal immigration. You know, it's a topic that a lot of people wanna poo-poo maybe, or they wanna soften the position on it. But I agree with them. Okay, you know, my ancestors came partially from England. They came over around 1746. And the other half came from Poland in around the 1870s or 1880s. They were here for a little while. And, you know, they waited in line, you know, or they came over on a boat for the English. They waited in line, you know, they dealt with despotism and with tyranny and stuff, and they lit out for the territories, to quote Twain. You know, they came to America, but they came here ethically, they came here honestly, and they came here most importantly legally. You know, when we have people in America that are jumping the fence down there, if there is even a fence, I mean, God only knows. When we have that happening, we undermine everyone who's using the INS system as a whole. We're telling people that are going to come here ethically, you mean less than the guy that's south of the border. That's what we're telling them. And that's not a positive message to be sending to people at all. You know, would you want to be told you're living in, I don't know, a hellhole like Russia, and you've been waiting in line for 10 years, and now the DREAM Act passes, and you're not allowed into the country because we've already reached, you know, certain numbers, and now you've been pushed back another year. Would you want to be told that? No.
Right.
You know, you wouldn't want to be told that.
Well, Mikey, I got a couple quick ones and we'll get into a CD review here real quick. Here's something that he talks about jobs.
Mr. Speaker, the Medicare Trust Fund had its first deficit in history, and the reason given was payroll taxes were less than expected. Now, how could this be if there have been 8 million new jobs? Could it be that maybe these jobs are very suspect? Check this out. Screw supervisor, nut former, ball sorter, needle straightener, bucket chucker, slitter, creaser, slaughter operator. Don't laugh. These are all jobs listed by the Department of Labor, and if that's not high-tech enough for you, how about sucker machine operator? How about carcass splitter? Just imagine if we create more sucker machine operators and carcass splitters, we'll even balance the budget. Now look, if anybody asks my opinion, I'd have to say beam me up, and I think these screw supervisors all work for the Internal Revenue Service. Happy Tax Day.
Love it.
Yeah, it's definitely he has a powerful message.
And now he's dead.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's a sad day. I remember my dad telling me about it. He's like, Jim Traficant's dead, and I'm like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah, that does suck. So you basically learned about Jim Traficant from the Classic Metal Show, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he was one of the ones, because being you guys are not really based in Ohio, but you have, you know, a lot of your stuff draws from out here.
Sure.
It was cool to hear And I heard it when I was back in when I was I think like 12 or 13, and I listened to it a few times, and I was like, well, this guy's got a lot of good points. You know?
Yes, he does. Well, I'm sad to see him go. It really was. I felt a real loss about that, and he was just I liked his renegade style.
Yep, he was one of a kind.
Yep, absolutely. All right, Mikey. Well, what do you have for us via the CD reviews?
Via CD reviews, I have Tango Down's Charming Devil.
Now, who put this out? I mean, they've been on Kivel Records. Are they on Kivel Records this time?
Not for this one. It says NEH Records.
Okay.
And they were formed in 2006. They're from New York, New York. And the band lineup is David Reese on vocals from the album Eat the Heat especially. Scott Miller is on guitar and backing vocals. He was the founder of Tango Down. Ronnie Parks is on bass and backing vocals. Keith Michaels is on drums. He's the co-founder of Tango Down. And this record was produced by Ty Sims.
Okay.
So, and I'm going to open this record review with saying I was sick when I was doing this review. I had an ear infection and stuff, so I'm sorry if my ears are not absolutely on point for this, but I tried to do the best I could with kind of not feeling so hot. First of all, this record for me was very sonically strong. It was and even with not having the best hearing in the world, it was still good for sound. It had a very dynamic and open sound to it. It was the bass, even on these Bose headphones, was really, really, really kicked good. The guitars were all very, very strong. It was a very, very bright sound. The opening song, Bad Reputation, sounded a lot like something from the Whitesnake Forevermore record. It had a bit of that feel to it, a bit of that maybe that Doug Aldridge kind of guitar sound, kind of maybe an influence from that. Backing vocals were strong on that. I will say they had the talk box on track number 2, Charming Devil. They had the talk box, and I'm like, okay, I haven't heard this in a while. The vocalist can definitely hold his own. David Reese is definitely an exceptional vocalist on this. He has quite a strong and powerful voice to carry this material. But the solo on that particular song, again, Charming Devil, was a bit weak. One thing I noticed on this record was that there were like no fade outs in any of the songs. I think I counted like 4 of the 10 had the 4 out of 10 had no fade out at all, none. And I was like, so it goes down to song, bam, and you start with something new. Could you hit the fade out on like the Pro Tools, the Audacity? Made it a little bit smoother to listen to. You don't have to you don't have to do a 10-hour fade out, but you can do like a few seconds of fading it out.
Who do you blame that on? Do you blame that on the engineer or the producer or the band?
I say maybe a combination of 3, but definitely a producer. Because if you're, you guys listen to the Dokken record. If there had been a song that had just like a hard bam end, I'm sure you guys would have made sure that was corrected. You guys or the producer would have made sure that was corrected, because it sounds off. If you're listening to this thing for a cohesive experience, like I listen to these records all 4, I go for that style. It sounds more cohesive when it's it flows, and when it ends real abruptly, it can't flow.
There's not a lot of fading out on AC/DC records.
Well, there isn't, but again, you listen to Highway to Hell, and it doesn't roll right into like Girls Got Rhythm. It doesn't, Highway to Hell doesn't end with that guitar note, and then bam, it just comes out. There's a second or 2 silence, which is all you need, but it's just enough to let you know the song is over and a new one is beginning. That's all I'm asking for. I ain't asking for the moon and the stars here.
Right.
Heaven's Falling was the opener. Had a reminiscent kind of cold gin guitar lick to it that was kind of cool. I like that song particularly. I'm Done Loving You, track number 11, I believe. I like the line, I got lucky when I left you. It was just kind of like, wow, this guy's really over this relationship, isn't he?
Yep, Chris can relate.
Yeah. I was going to say, did I write that?
Heck, I could even have written that song. And then track number 12, Nothing But Rain. The piano was a cool twist at the end. You definitely wouldn't have expected that coming. Although was mixed off, and it could have been just my hearing at the time, but it sounded heavy right channel and not like truly balanced. I like the line, look out for number 1, it's the only way I'm born. Kind of like that. I like that kind of methodology of that line. And so the total review for this record would be a 72. I gave it a 72 because it was strong, and the members have great talent, but the lyrics held it back because they were a bit childish in places, and in addition, the lack of fade-outs of the ends of the songs made it very difficult, or at least kind of grating to listen to back-to-back, because one would end, and again, like I said, the other one would just begin. And it doesn't give you even a second to just go, it's over. Now let's go to another one, So that is my review, 72 out of 100 for Tango Down's Charming Devil.
What do you think of that, Neely?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm trying to interpret what Mikey is saying here is doesn't give you a chance to say, phew, it's over, thank God. Or aw, it's over.
Yeah.
So which is it, Mikey?
It's over.
All right. Excellent.
So
not a big fan of the record then?
I liked it. Again, like I always say, the cohesive experience that I go for when I listen to these records, which I believe is key to a record. And again, in the iTunes world, that could be debated. Is a record even worth a record anymore because it's all individual songs anyway? I still think a record is a record and should flow like a record.
So you're basically saying the lack of attention to detail here is what made you subtract points.
Yeah. It was much to do with the attention to detail,
right?
That I wasn't so hot on.
Right,
Mike. What are the students listening to on the campus these days? I'm just very curious because I know that rock music is not the hip music right now. So what are they listening to? Fucking Kanye or shit like that?
God only knows what they're listening to. I mean, when it comes down to it, I know like Drake or whatever is big and this and that, but one that was big was Blink-182. Yeah, they listen to like Breaking Benjamin, stuff like that. Stuff I would never even touch because I'm like, this is just garbage. I will say though, I am a huge fan of Aphex Twin, of the 90s, the intelligent dance music and ambient like house stuff. He put out a new record out, Cyro, and I love that record. I listened to it at least 10 or 12 times. It's great. And I'm big into that when I'm not listening to like heavy metal and stuff. I'm into the ambient stuff. I have to be because in order to concentrate well in school, I listen to a lot of ambient music to keep myself calm while I'm doing assignments and stuff. So I'm always looking for a new good record to replace it. And currently, and still not dethroned, is Aphex Twin's Selected Ambient Works Volume 2.
Are you clapping your hands?
Yeah, I am actually. I'm going like this.
That's how excited he is.
I am. I do. That is like my top 5 records ever. That's in that record. It's like 2 hours and 30 minutes, and it's something. It sounds like something the aliens left behind. It's great.
That's good shit, Neely.
Right. Nice. Bring me a white girl.
Jesus, man. Racist.
All right, Mikey. Well, what else is on your agenda there? What would you like to speak to the fathers of the classic metal show? Do you have something? I mean, we've asked all the questions and brought up all the topics. So what's on your mind?
Well, speaking to you guys, I wanted to ask about what are your thoughts on the new callers that are calling in?
Like who?
Well, Tim James, for one. I know he's not new, but what are your thoughts on his calls now?
I think Tim is funny. I enjoy him. I like his humor. He's just flat out silly sometimes, and he makes fun of himself, and he's quick with a drive-by call. I like his drive-bys when he calls in, spouts out his little comment, and out.
Yeah, that's a unique style that like him and MOL really pioneered.
I love Tim. Tim is more than welcome to call every time, and if the chat room hates him, call twice.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the funniest drive-bys he had was just a few weeks ago when Chris was saying that he'd rather be gay than fuck his ex-old lady.
Yeah.
And he called in and said, "So I still got a chance, Chris."
Oh man,
that's funny.
That was really funny.
Now I have to level with you guys. I have to level a very serious thing with you guys.
All right.
I have not been as faithful a CMS listener as I could be.
Hang up on him.
And before you press that big red button, it has purely been because my, again, school, as everything seems to revolve around these days.
We'll forgive you for that, Mikey, because you're going to help bail us out of the mess we're in, even though it might be 40 years down the road.
I'm gonna do all I can.
Sure.
I'm gonna do all I can. But it's just been because I've been just slammed. And furthermore, there's been a lot of it's like there's been so many kind of, you know, in the marketplace of ideas, which I believe you guys are in with radio and stuff. There's so much competition, and there's been a ton of new good shows that have crossed my radar.
Wait a minute.
So listen.
Beat by who?
You're getting beat by Freakonomics Radio, Radio Lab, Hello Internet, a podcast by CGP Grey and Brady Heron, Coast to Coast AM, which I know you're a fan of, Mr. Chris.
Wait a minute. Coast to Coast. I'm not a fan of George Snorri.
Well, I mean, come on. Some of that stuff's interesting. I don't listen to it all the time.
George Snorri has never. I'm a fan of Coast to Coast AM, and George Snorri has never done a show as entertaining as ours.
Oh no! I will agree with you there. And if it comes down to one of his shows coming on, I turn it off. Now, my father loves him. My father loves George Norrie, and I'm like, how the hell do you listen to him? It's so
now would
dry.
that be Mike from the car assembly line listening to him?
Possibly.
Now, if you want to bring Jason the horse in, I'm all in for some George Norrie.
Oh, I will heat up the popcorn if Jason the horse is coming on. I'm heating up the popcorn. I'm just waiting.
But come on.
And I'm hoping Jason the horse takes callers.
I think we're better than the Apex Twins.
Oh, come on.
We're definitely better than that.
Apex, but
whatever.
But the thing is a lot of that stuff, like I have huge issues concentrating a lot with schoolwork, and I'll tell you what, his music especially has helped me get to where I am with school, because I have a hardcore regimen when it comes down to taking tests and stuff. I can't eat any refined sugars 24 hours before a test. I can't eat any caffeine. It's really, really, really stringent, just because it'll affect my concentration, and I have to listen to very soothing music. So I turn off the rock and roll for a little bit. I know, horrifying things, but it's to get me where I need to go. Plus, I really do enjoy it.
And Mike, your appearances on the show have been entertaining, and it's sad to see you go. But
well, of course, yeah. Now I have to go because I am not I'm not just a total metalhead, because you have to be all metal or nothing. This is an either or fallacy land.
That's the way I am.
Yeah, you who sings, you Mr. 70s songs.
Right. So getting back to the CMS callers, who else are you keying in on there, Mikey? You mentioned Tim James.
Who was the guy who called in about the concert thing, about the
John Rufo?
Yes. Oh my God.
You like that guy?
I just want to ask him, what are you smoking, dude? What are you smoking? Because, like, I don't want any. Keep that away from me, you know? Knock that... Give it to somebody else. You know, put down the pipe. It's all going to be all right.
Neely, thoughts?
I like John Rufo. I think he's funny. He, too, has his own, brand. He brings his own brand of humor to the show, like him or not. But I like John's calls. I think he's funny.
John can go the way of Mark Nero for me.
Really?
Thank you. I have a friend. Now, I'll tell you what, I do listen to a majority of the shows. They take me time to get through them. I wait for like 2 weeks in a row to come up, and then I go through and I listen to them all. But I cut out the calling segments. I cut out, like, sometimes I'll cut out Tim James, or I'll cut out John's calls. But I always listen to, and the one I really enjoyed was the one where you guys talked about the Is Rock and Roll Dead one.
Okay.
I listened to that one, and I listened to, and it was a while ago, but I listened to the Robin Williams one, and I even messaged you, Mr. Chris, about that. I really liked your thoughts on Robin Williams. I really thought that was a point that not a lot of people were talking about, because you see the Entertainment Tonight and the Inside Edition crowd. That was all, you know, it is a tragedy, it is death, but, you know, ultimately he made the decisions, you know, and you guys really pointed that out in a way that most people didn't have the gumption to put out there.
Well, we got nothing to lose, Mikey. We don't have any corporate sponsors who will yank our money away for saying the wrong thing.
And God bless you for it, because, you know, too many shows now are built around, you know, advertising. And again, like the list of shows I mentioned before are all great, but they all are unfortunately kind of almost public radio things, or for Freakonomics and Radiolab, they're definitely public radio things, and they have to advertise. And, it detracts from the show a little bit when you get an ad. It does. So that's why listening to the CMS is like, it's a break for no ads. I'm not going to be sold anything, beyond the little ones you put on Spreaker about, supporting, Mr. Bob Nalbandian or whatever. There's no, like, advertisements of, buy this or buy that, that's what corporate. It's Mr. Chris selling his book or Mr. Bob and his movie or whatever. But it's stuff that a lot, and you laugh, but I think it's stuff that it would be poignant to the crowd that's listening. People that are listening would want to read Mr. Chris's book. They would have a vested interest in going to see, Inside Metal. They would have a vested interest rather than just, Freakonomics is supported by Squarespace, the Yellow platform, blah, 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 blah. No, that is so, least common denominator. We're just trying to get some money in, blah, blah, blah. Whereas you guys kind of almost tailor it so what people are going to want,
Yeah.
And you have stuff that's worthwhile. Your book was worthwhile. Your, the documentary, I'm sure it's going to be worthwhile. So it makes it different than a cold, calculated corporate kind of takeover. You know what I mean?
We know what you mean, Mikey. I think you've whipped that horse to submission.
So I shall step off of my soapbox.
All right. Anything else, Mikey?
Nothing that is coming across my mind right now.
All right. Hey, Mikey, you're going to school now. What comes to mind?
I don't know, Natalie. What comes to your mind?
All right, Mikey. Well, I think we're going to wrap things up here with you. You're out there. You're a college man now, and you commute to school, right?
Yes, I do. I drive. I think it's on the order of 25 miles. I think each day.
Okay.
And I really enjoy it. Again, I turn on you or I turn on another show, and I just ride on down the road. It's great.
There you go. Excellent. All right, Mikey, one last chance. Anything else to plug?
Not a thing else to plug.
All right, good. All right, well, again, it was good catching up with you since I really haven't had a chance to have any contact with you throughout the entire summer.
Yeah, I've been off the radar, but it's because of this massive move. At some point, you guys are going to have to come out whenever you have some time and just hang out here. It's a pretty nice house. It's far bigger than what I was at previously. Sure. So it's pretty nice out here. I love the neighborhood. And so far I'm liking Ohio. It's a great state. Although I'm not gonna lie, I totally miss the seafood. It's something that I grew up with and that I definitely miss. But I like it out here for what it is, and I'm loving my college. It's just a great experience, and I wouldn't trade anything for it right now.
All right.
If you're missing the seafood, McDonald's makes a hell of a fish sandwich.
Oh, come on. I'm talking like, you know what I'm talking about. The good stuff,
State fish, friend. State fish.
Ugh.
Well, you're close enough to Sharon, Pennsylvania there, Mikey. You could go down there to Quaker Steak and Lube, the original.
Yeah, they have one down not far from us here. But
the original, Mikey, not just a branch. I'm talking the real place, the real place.
I've never been to one. My dad went to a branch out here, but if I'm ever in that area, I shall have to go.
Well, go. You're only 20 minutes from it.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not that far.
Yeah.
So, but it's again getting in the car because I'm trying to plan my trip back east for May. I do not, and that is big with me. I do not call it home. Like my mom and my dad still occasionally they're getting pretty good at it, but they fall into the trap. But I definitely only will refer to it as back east.
Back east. That whole 6-hour ride back east.
That 6-hour ride, man. I'm not looking forward to it. My mom and dad have to do it in a few weeks to go back. My mom has some business to attend to.
Sure.
And my dad's already like, yep, I'm dreading this drive.
All right, Mikey, enough with the family business.
All right, enough with that. You're driving back to Teacher Poon. We know.
I'm not driving back to Teacher Poon. It might be other kinds.
Right. Other kinds.
It could be an ex-classmate or something.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that. I'd bang the shit out of that teacher. Jesus.
And this is why I'm telling her not to listen to this edition of the fine edition of the Classic Metal Show.
All right, Mikey, I'm going to let you pick a tune and take us out of this.
Okay, well, I'm going to pick the best song on the Tango Down record that I gave an 8 out of 10 to. I'm Done Loving You.
All right, what's the new Tango Down called?
Charming Devil.
Charming Devil. So, Well, we're going to get out of here. We'll have you back again, Mikey. Give us an update maybe around Thanksgiving break or something.
Great, that sounds good with me.
All right, well, here it is. This is Tango Down from their latest release called what?
Charming Devil.
And this is what, Mikey?
I'm Done Loving You.
Exclusively here
on your classic metal show.